There's a white supremacist who gets mad because a company, a restaurant, has a Black Lives Matter sign. Why get mad? You can just keep walking and not engage as a consumer. You don't have to be a customer. But this is what this particular white supremacist decided to do. Here it is.
Can you leave? Nothing to do with anything. I'm white. Got nothing to do, bro. I'm white. Nothing to do with anything. You're making an ass of yourself, bro. An ass of yourself. You're gonna go to jail, bro. You break my.
Oh my.
Ándele. ¿Quién le manda?
Ansiedad, angustia, desesperación. Hondo viva mi alma.
I'm so glad they did not allow that rude, racist individual to stop their fun that night. Now remember, this was all because of a Black Lives Matter sign being displayed at this particular establishment. Chula Vista is the area. This is in California. Now, I highlight that to highlight something else. That's a microcosm. Let me give you the bigger picture here. Remember when it became sexy? You remember, it became sexy to help Black people, to support the movement of Black lives, right? Corporations became woke. And they were guaranteeing all of this money. It's time to stand up, fight the good fight. Well, I'm glad that there are restaurants and businesses and corporations who are now speaking the same language about doing something. But let me look under the hood and see exactly what they have done. To date, America's 50 biggest public companies and their foundations collectively committed at least $49.5 billion since George Floyd's murder last May to address racial inequality, an amount that appears unequaled in sheer scale. Now, some people will celebrate that, right? Wow, look at all of that money being pledged. Look at all of these Fortune 500 companies jumping on the bandwagon for social responsibility, for equity, for justice, for criminal justice reform. Yeah, seems good, right? Okay, let me bring your attention to Colin Kaepernick before I move on. Colin Kaepernick, why did he take a knee? Colin Kaepernick took a knee to bring awareness to Black and brown people unarmed being killed by the police. He specifically said, here's why I'm taking a knee. Now, he could have taken a knee for other things, but he took a knee for that. That's what he took a knee for. He stood up for Black and brown people. And then he was ousted, fired basically de facto from the NFL. And they said, oh no, it's not about him taking a knee. No, that's not why we're doing this, no. Now remember how many players in the NFL took a knee when they were praying to white Jesus after they made a touchdown. They took a knee, right? It's not about the knee. If Colin Kaepernick would have taken a knee to bring awareness that we need more funding for cancer research, which we do, if he would have taken a knee for that, do you think he would have been told, you gotta go, you gotta leave, you can't work in the NFL? Nope, it wasn't that he took a knee, it's my point. It was about what he took a knee for. He had the audacity to take a knee for Black and brown people. It's about what he took a knee for. Now, some of you won't like the next statement I'm making, I'm okay with it. Jay-Z got involved. Before Jay-Z made his deal with the NFL, Jay-Z would do concerts with Colin Kaepernick t-shirts. he would talk about it on his social media. And I love Jay-Z. Been a Jay-Z fan from day one. But I gotta be truthful here. When Jay-Z got involved, Jay-Z coordinated with the NFL, and they donated a lot of money by way of concerts that Jay-Z coordinated himself, and they donated a lot of money to good charities. Charities that needed the money. How many of those charities actually addressed what Colin Kaepernick took a knee for? 0, not one. Not one. And we believed that the NFL did something when they said, we're going to now fund these other nonprofits. Those nonprofits should have been funded anyway. They really should have. But the reality is, the NFL was allowed to pivot away from what Colin Kaepernick wanted to bring their attention to. And the NFL used Jay-Z to accomplish it. To this day, the NFL still has not adequately addressed the platform that Colin Kaepernick was bringing to their attention. It gets deeper. Looking deeper, more than 90% of that amount, we're talking about pledged amount, 45.2 billion, is allocated as what? Loans and investments they could stand to profit from. We're talking about corporations in general. More than half in the form of mortgages. Two banks, JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America, accounted for nearly half of all of those commitments. So here's what they did, y'all. They said, hey, Black Lives Matter, we're gonna start making some real movement here. Let's give more loans with interest so we can make money off of it. They were not contributions as we were led to believe. Meanwhile, 4.2 billion of the total pledged is in the form of outright grants. Of that, companies reported just a tiny fraction, only 70 million, went to organizations focused specifically on criminal justice reform. The cause that sent millions into the streets protesting Floyd's murder by Minneapolis police officer, that cause received a fraction of the overall amount of money given due to the action and the movement for Black lives. Marinate on that. Corporations are smart. They're crafty, they're strategic. We have to keep holding them accountable.